Greetings. My name is Letitia Hensley, and I'm the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Director of Family and Community Engagement. We are excited that you are joining us today and know you will gain great insight from this session. At the conclusion of today's session, please provide feedback so that we can continue to support you with amazing sessions that will be provided throughout the year. Now, without further ado, we'll turn it over to our presenters.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for this Lunch and Learn session. Today, we're going to be talking about Infinite Campus, which is our new student information system. I'm going to give you a few minutes on this first slide to access the bit.ly. If you want to type in the link, you can follow along with this slideshow. It also should be put in the chat for those of you who can access that. So this is Exploring Infinite Campus, an overview for parents and families. My name is Denise Yates. I'm the Student Information Systems Manager, and my email address is here if you need to contact me for any reason following this presentation. The first thing I want to go over before we get into the content today is the translation support. So in the upper right-hand corner of your screen in Teams, if you need translation, you can click Captions and then Show Live Captions, and then select your language from the drop-down list. Also, I want to go over just how to engage during this session because I'm going to be giving you a lot of information. And I know as parents, you're probably going to have questions about how to access the things I'm going over. Again, in the top right-hand corner, you should see a Q&A. If you click on Q&A, you can type your question in the box. I have two of my department coworkers here with me, Jacob and Luis, and they will be monitoring the questions while I'm going through the presentation. At the end, we will take time to read through all of those and also provide answers to the ones that we have so that you have those answers and we can also refer back to this in the future. Please also feel free to share your reactions during the presentation as you see appropriate with the little reaction button there in the bottom. And finally, we do want to hear from you. So if you share your feedback for the session today, you could be entered to win a $100 gift card into a raffle, and the winner will be contacted tomorrow. So I would definitely click on this bit.ly link or type it in and register for that so that you can receive a gift card. So today, this is our agenda for our hour. We're going to talk about what exactly is Infinite Campus and why North Carolina chose to move to Infinite Campus. I'm going to show you a brief project timeline just so you know what we've been doing and where we're going. And then I want to demo and give you information on the parent and student portal and the parent and student application for Infinite Campus. So this first visual is just a representation of obviously what the phases we're in our state. So our state as a whole decided to move from using PowerSchool to using Infinite Campus about a year or two ago. And because our state is so large, they split this into two phases. Phase 1 schools and districts are in blue. So any district or county you see in blue here is currently already using Infinite Campus this school year. Thankfully, we are part of phase 2, and those schools are in white. And so we are getting to learn from the phase 1 schools what worked, what we need to do to support our teachers, our school staff, our parents, and students as we transition from using PowerSchool to Infinite Campus. The main reason I get this question a lot, why did we decide to do this? The state was just looking to modernize our student information system. We've used PowerSchool for 12 to 13 years now, and they wanted something newer. Also, potentially a platform that could do multiple things. So we are going to utilize Infinite Campus this year like we currently utilize PowerSchool. So for grades, attendance, transcripts, schedules, but in the future, we could potentially add on more pieces to this program, and I'll explain that as we go through the session today. So this is just an overall timeline of where we have been and where we're going. In the fall, we did trainings for staff, and we've been planning and just planning ahead to what do we need to provide our schools? What do we need to provide our parent community? In the winter, we've been doing data conversions, and just for you as parents to have an understanding of this, when we move to the new system, we want to make sure if your students come back and need a transcript from 5 years from now, if they need information from a report card, all of that data has to be transferred from PowerSchool to Infinite Campus. So there's not just the training piece, there's a lot of data conversion. And so we've been working hard to make sure that data is clean and that all of our data is converted correctly from one system to another. We've also done district trainings in the winter. Because our school-based staff is still, and we are still working in PowerSchool, we didn't want to train on Infinite Campus quite yet. We don't want to overwhelm our teachers. And so that's kind of why we waited until the spring of this year, where we are currently, to roll this out to parents, to roll this out to school-based staff, so that they're ready to utilize this resource in the following school year. We will go live with Infinite Campus in the summer. So in July, we will go live, and that is when you all will receive login information to the resources I'm going to show you today. The way that you will be connected to your students, we will communicate all that very clearly. I will probably do another lunch and learn about how to sign up for your accounts once we get that information. But that will be communicated through Parent Square. We will also be sending home, probably by mail, documentation, just to ensure that everybody is able to get in the new system and access your students' information. So today, I want to go over the 2 different ways you can access your student information during the next school year when we move to Infinite Campus. If there is a portal and there's an application that's on the phone. So the web access is actually the portal, and it allows you to see announcements, assignments, student attendance, grades, schedules, and monitor that information. So you would be using a laptop or a desktop computer if you're using the portal. If you access it that way, you can see more details of your student information than you would on your phone or a tablet. And so today you'll visually be able to see the differences between the two and decide which one you prefer to use moving forward. And I did not mean to click on that. The next slide, this is a visual of the application. The app, you can download it in the Apple Store or Google Play Store. So it's accessible on both. And here's a visual of it, obviously on an iPad and an iPhone. Again, you can access the same things, announcements, assignments, attendance, even documents on students, but it's going to be a little more limited of the details you see on the app. And this is just a chart of the breakdown of the two and the major differences between the portal or desktop laptop view versus the app view. I would say as a parent myself, because I have 2 students who are in middle school currently, I'm probably going to utilize the app more. The main reason is you can set those push notifications. One of my children will be in high school next year, and I want to know if she's tardy. I want to know when her grades, when her grades are updated. And so you can set up those types of notifications on the application on your iPad or phone. So I will probably utilize that one most. Um, Big difference though in the portal, especially when it comes to grades, you can see the student's GPA and details about assignments when you're accessing the grade book on a laptop or desktop device. So next, I want to go over the parent and the student view of Infinite Campus in the portal. Obviously, that is on a laptop or desktop. I am going to quickly go through these slides just to show you that you have access to the screenshots, but I'm actually going to log into our demo site so that you can see what it would look like if it were live. And this is what you would see when you get your login in July. So initially, this is what a potential home screen would look like. The biggest thing you're going to notice today when I log into the demo site, this banner up here is going to be orange, and orange designates that it's training. The green would designate that it's live. So when you get yours in July, obviously it will be green. And the information in there is what we see on the school side and at the district side, as well as what you obviously see on your side. One big thing to note, as I told you before, there are pieces of Infinite Campus that we will not be using next school year, but could potentially in the future. So when you see this food service balance and fees, we are actually not using that next year. We're sticking with our same process as this year for that. So you will not see fee balances here. And I'll try to point out other things that you might see in the training site that we will not be utilizing. It might be things we do in the future. So today in the parent view, we're going to look at the attendance, grades, and student schedule. I'm going to go ahead and log in at this point. Again, you have those as reference, but I'm going to show you what it looks like in the portal. Give me 1 second to log in. And so this is what it would look like if you log in as a parent on the home screen. Obviously here in schools can actually, and as the district, we can customize this. So it may look a little different when you get your site. You'll see information at the top coming through their announcements. We're working on trying to get things from Parent Square to potentially feed in here. So you're getting that information in two places. Obviously, this parent has several students, and so that they would get announcements from all the schools. Here you see we have elementary and a high school student, and so that information would be here. If I scroll through, you're going to see that I have 4 students attached to this parent login, and so I could see all 4 of my students here in the middle. Again, we're not using food service, so that would not be down here. On the right-hand side, underneath announcements, you're going to see an inbox. So if we utilize this for communication from the school level, that information would come in here. I did present twice at Dr. Hill's parent night on this same thing. And one big request from parents during that session was that if we're not utilizing Infinite Campus for everything, can we include links to outside resources here? And so we are going to customize that as a district. So if you do need to pay your student lunch balance, or you need to pay your student fees, or you need to access athletic information in Dragonfly, all of those links will be pushed out from the district level. So at least this will be one place you can go to then access all the things you need for your students. And finally, down here in the bottom, and we're going to come back to this in a moment, but you will see shortcuts that we've put here as a district 2 for things that quick things that you can complete. So we are going to start today by looking at Peggy Cardinal. So I'm just going to click on her, And you will notice when you select the student that it then gives you obviously more information detailed about her. So she's in 11th grade. You can see her student number. Again, the quick info, we will customize and have that feed through as a district. You can see that her schedule is here and the time breakdown is included. That will be visible to parents as well. Um, Anything in blue is hyperlinked. So there are multiple ways to search and get to things in Infinite Campus. So I will show you that in just a moment, but we could click on her classes and actually see assignments and grades. One nice thing also as a parent, you can, if depending on the time of day, and obviously it's 12:15 right now, it will designate which class they're supposed to or will be in. So you can see right now she would be in English 11 because she's there from 11:40 to 1 p.m. If you continue scrolling, if there were documents that needed attention, like a field trip permission form or a nurse document, those might come through here. Any assignments that are either missing, due today or tomorrow would show here. And then also at the very bottom, it's going to show the last 2 weeks time frame of information. So that's just a quick overview of what you could see in the 2 weeks. So it could be assignments, grades, attendance, and behavior. We are still using Educator's Handbook for behavior, but that will feed through here so that you can see those incidents as well. So we're going to look more detailed at a few of those items, but I do also want to show you that if I need to toggle between students and I don't want to go back to my home screen, you can do that here in the upper right-hand corner. So in a minute, I'm going to do that when I'm showing you attendance and grades so that we can see the difference between high school and elementary as we're looking at that. So we're going to start with Peggy and look at her attendance. So this over here is called your main menu, the little hamburger looking icon. If I select that, I'm going to look at her attendance. If you click it again, it will take that away so your screen is larger. I'm going to go back to term 1, and this obviously is broken down by terms. It tells you the date range there, and then it gives a list of all the classes. I just knew that in chemistry, she had an absence and a tardy, and I want to be able to show you both. So if I click on chemistry, you can see here that it gives you the breakdown of she has 1 excused absence and 2 tardies. And it even gives you a little more information down below on the date and whether they were excused or unexcused. I am going to go select Stella now because Stella is in elementary school. Obviously, that schedule looks very different. I think most parents, if you have elementary or middle or high school student, in elementary, we only take attendance in that homeroom. So we take 1 attendance per day. And then in high school, we're taking daily period attendance. That's why this looks different. So we're just going to click on her 5th grade homeroom. And then you can see here, she has 3 excused absences and 1 tardy, and it gives the information. Obviously, I don't think she's going to get a tardy. If the bus is late, that is not her fault, but that is the reason here for that particular tardy. Okay, we are going to go back to Peggy. And the next thing I want us to look at are grades. So I'm going to select grades here. Another thing to point out, you will not see all of these options here on the menu. If there are things we are not utilizing as a district, such as the food service, that won't show up. So I think it'll be a little less confusing. You will only have access to the things that we actually are using. So if you click on an item, there will be information there. So we're going to look at grades for Peggy. Again, I am going to select term 1. Let me make this larger. So we are having a discussion right now about who will actually be able to view and see the GPA. We're leaning towards everyone should be able to see that, or at least parents and counselors. But that information would show up here. So they would see their term GPA and their cumulative GPA, potentially even be able to see class rank. Again, that is a discussion that we're having and we'll decide probably in the next month. And then you will just see the term grade listed here for each course. And so if it's in bold, that means it's posted. So you can see that she's got grades posted to all of her courses. If I wanted to look further into a class, notice that these are blue, so that means they're linked to another section. So I'm going to look at AP Stats. You could potentially see comments, grading information, and possibly assignments if they were listed here. Students get a lot more information on assignments. So obviously when I show you that view, if you need to see the details of the assignment, have your student log in and look at that with them. I am going to click on Stella now so you can just see the difference in the way grades post for high school versus elementary. Obviously their grading scale is different than CMS, but you'll get the understanding by just looking here. So they have homeroom grades. And then here, I'm just going to click on this process. It would give a breakdown of the explanation of how they received that. And here's a visual of what the assignments would look like. If assignment information is listed, it will give due dates and possibly like the final score. So here you can see that 2 of these assignments were graded and these 2 do not have a grade currently. So that is what grades would look like. For any parents who are in here who are, well, all parents, but also teachers, we are continuing to use Canvas as our learning management system next year. And so the way we currently have that connected to PowerSchool, that will continue with Infinite Campus. So the grades will show in both places. And the last thing I wanted to show you, well, we've already seen schedule, but let's go back to Peggy Cardinal. Just again, to show you that you can get to things in multiple ways. I'm going to click on schedule here. And if we just looked at the overall schedule for the student, which was also on the home view, if you click on that, notice it takes us back to what you just saw, but you can see the classroom information with the teachers, usually phone number, email, and then curriculum is obviously going to be assignments and details, and then the overall grades would show here. Let's choose Stella, and obviously this also looks very different because this is elementary school. We will have time frames showing in our schedule for elementary as well. That's something that we wanted because it's much easier if you work within a school to know where students are during a time frame. So that would show underneath each of these courses. Another great question I received at Dr. Hill's parent night for any schools or students who are on an A-day, B-day schedule. I don't have an example of that in here, but it is much easier to see in Infinite Campus than it currently is in PowerSchool. So if they had that schedule, it would keep track of and show you that the schedule for that particular day, but then you can also view the 2 side by side in your student information. And next, I want to log out of the parent view and show you a few more things under the student view for the portal before we move on to the app. So I'm going to log off. Obviously, there are a lot of other features in here, but I don't have time to show them all today. That is why I would love to come back and do another Lunch and Learn as we go closer to our go live date to learn it myself and then also just demo that here so that we all have a better understanding of how to use this. Oh, I forgot to switch to students, so let me do that again. So obviously, if I log in as a student and I'm Dylan in this situation, I am only going to see my information. So it looks very similar to the parent, although it's just one person. Their announcements are going to feed through here. They also have an inbox and quick links. The student will see, obviously, and we are going to make sure we have updated pictures in the system. So you'll see that as well as the student. They have their barcode, and if we utilize the food service barcode, it would be there. They'll have their quick info and their schedule with their links. And again, it designates which course he's in right now. So right now he's in government. These little hands here on the side, just so you know what they are, it allows the student to ask a question. Again, that's customizable. I'm not sure if we will utilize that option, but it just sends a message to the teacher. These check-ins, this is something that teachers can utilize as like a warm-up or an exit activity. I'll click on one just so you can see it. But this teacher was just doing a wellness check-in, so kind of a warm-up activity. And it allows them to take a quick poll and give the students options for their answers. So obviously you don't see this as a parent as an assignment, but the students would see it if the teacher provides them with a check-in or an exit activity. If students had documents that needed attention or signature, those would show up here. They see the same assignments to-do list that the parents see. And then again, they also see the last 2 weeks of updates. But as you see here, where I was telling you, they see more detailed information about assignments. You can tell if I click on one of their assignments, it actually gives the summary, a link. And so this is why, as a parent, if I had a question about an upcoming assignment or what my student received on a grade, I'd probably have my child log in and look in more detail with them. So again, grades are down here so they can see their current grades, attendance, and then behavior incidents. One thing I do want to show you as a student, so up here is the main menu. The areas I showed you earlier are pretty much the same, the grades, the attendance, and the schedule in student view. So let me just go to one. So I'm going to show you a few different tools in here that you can also access as a parent. See the grades, they look pretty much the same, except you're going to get more detail on the assignments. So what I want to show you under student is I want us to look at the calendar. Parents also have this option for all students that they have in their Infinite Campus. I'm actually going to go back to January because I know there's something on, I believe on his schedule. Maybe not in January. When a student has something, here we go, February. When a student has something on their calendar, and it could be regarding attendance or behavior or an assignment, you'll see that there's a designator, like a little circle underneath that day. So if we click on Tuesday, February 4th, you'll see there that he had 2 projects, a project due and a news perspective assignment due. Same thing for, let's look at the 28th. There's an assignment due in government. And so I like this overall calendar view. It kind of helps you view and see when upcoming deadlines are and assignments or tests. If they click on schedule, again, you can get to schedule in the main menu, but it also shows on the calendar what that schedule would be for that day and that time frame. And attendance would be the same thing. If there were something on the student schedule, he had tardies. So here on March 18th, there was an absence in his concert choir class. So you can see that here on the calendar. And the last thing I'm going to show you under this login before we show the app, because I do want to leave time for questions at the end. We're going to click on more, and I'm going to choose behavior. So also here, the student can also keep track of their behavior incidents. So here, Dylan was written up for having an electronic device. I'm not sure why he was in school in July, but you can see that a letter to his parent was sent, and there's documentation of that here for the student and the parent. One other thing I did not mention under the parent, but I went to menu and contacts. And so as we utilize Infinite Campus from year to year, you as a parent will have the opportunity to edit and enter contact information. So if your address changes, if your phone number changes, um, if you need to add a new emergency contact, a parent would have access to do that, but a student can also view those contacts. So I just wanted to show you that list here, so that you can see that information. Now, contacts in Infinite Campus also include any person. So that is why you'll see there are contacts in here that are actually the student's teacher. It just means that they're connected to the student because they have them in a course. And now I want to log out of this and show you the student application and parent app. I'm going to go back to my slideshow for just a minute so I can show you the visual of what this looks like so that you have these screenshots to take away. The screenshots are not beautiful, but these are actually screenshots from my cell phone of what I'm going to demo in the app in just a moment. And so we're going to go over the calendar view, which looks pretty similar to the portal. We're going to look at attendance very quickly and grades on the app. So let me pull this up. And so the icon, I've just already selected the icon on my phone, and I'm going to log in to the application. Obviously, you can save your password. Again, you guys will all get your registration information about downloading and how to ensure that you're associated with our district, probably the end of July to early August, and we will send that out multiple times. We will also probably have kiosk and people set up at back to school events to make sure that you have the assistance you need to get in. So it's being slow for a minute, but this is actually my cell phone and it is loading in the system. You'll see here at the top, you just have your three options. And so this does look a little different, obviously, than PowerSchool. You have your main menu. You have any notifications that are being sent out, that would be regarding attendance or assignments. And then you can utilize your user menu here if you needed to. So if I scroll here, you'll notice this view is very less detailed than the portal, but we have our students up there and then announcements are actually down at the bottom. So we're going to look at Dylan for today's purposes. And here you would see his information, quick links, and then his schedule. Again, it shows you where he's at. He's actually in physics right now. And then any documents or assignments down here. I want us to look at the calendar for Dylan. So we're going to go over here and click on calendar at the top. And this, you will see, well, there's already things highlighted for today. So here it is showing his attendance. So again, if there's anything on that day, it's designated by a dot below the date. And you can quickly just scroll through here on your phone and see what kind of absences or tardies the student has. You can also obviously see the student schedule. So there's another view of that. And then assignments. I think this is where I had to select January. Yes, if there are assignments due again, you'll see the bullet there. And it will tell you that he had an assignment due in his Math 4 course. Again, won't see many details, but you can see the grade he received and the date that it was due. I do want to also show you that this is something we're potentially going to use next year. If we don't use it next year, we'll use it the following, but this absence request. I know right now we utilize a lot of schools a form online, but this would allow parents to select their student and an absence reason. And so I do think it makes a lot of sense to utilize this component because we're taking account for absences in Infinite Campus. And so if that request comes through Infinite Campus, I think it would be very helpful. You can see this parent doesn't have any right now, but it would allow you to see put in request and also see past requests that you've made. Health information as well. We are working with our district health department right now to determine with the nurses if we utilize this piece. But if we do, they could potentially also put documents and information in here as well. We are moving to online registration for next year. So all of you obviously probably have students already in the district, but I did want to show you the documents piece so that you can see what that looks like in Infinite Campus. So documents that come through could be examples like student schedule, if a student had an IEP, a report card, but also down here at the bottom, I believe under one student, it also had the registration and application information. So I did just want to show you that that information is here and you can switch between school years to see their information from a previous year as well. So I do like that it keeps that information in here. Obviously, if you accessed it on a computer, not the phone, you could see a little more detail and it would be a larger screen. And that is really all I was going to demo today, just so that you had an understanding and a visual of both the portal and the application. At this time, I would like for us to look at the Q&A and answer. We're going to read the questions as well as answers to things that have been put in the chat. And so I'm going to let my coworker, Luis, take over for a minute and read those and some answers.
Sounds good. Excellent. So we'll start all the way from the bottom. Let's see here. Um, we have a couple of it says, is Infinite Campus a US-based company and is the data store onshore? So we do know for sure that Infinite Campus as a web-based information system started in Minnesota, and it is a US company, and the student data, at least for North Carolina, is retained in North Carolina Department of Public Instruction servers that are in North Carolina soil. But for more information about Infinite Campus, I have linked in the chat, or in the Q&A rather, a link about how Infinite Campus came about for more information. We have another question here. Is there information we will be able to see in Infinite Campus that we can't currently see under PowerSchool Parent Portal? Absolutely. One of the biggest things we found that was very useful, and we have a lot of good parents that had good feedback about, was the fact that they could see and they could track, at least for our high school students, their GPA and class rank information. Infinite Campus has more capabilities than our current SIS, and we are definitely very excited to share all that information with you. But at least the GPA and the class rank is a prime example of that. Another question, will parents and students be able to go back and see what they miss on assignments to study and learn from it? Yes. So you will see, like Denise shared, you do have the notifications of what assignments are up to date and what assignments are due for the upcoming week and for the future weeks. But you also will be able to see which assignments your student has missed and which assignments your student is missing a grade for, so that you know what's due and what's upcoming. We also have is Infinite Campus a replacement for both Power School and Parent Square. So Infinite Campus is a replacement for the current SIS, which is Power School. It's replacing the student information system, so we will now be referred to as Infinite Campus. But as far as Parent Square is concerned, although although Infinite Campus does have the capabilities that Parent Square has, we still will be retaining Parent Square, at least for the upcoming school year that we know of. It says, why does it only, we have another question, why does it only show 2 weeks? So as of right now, we are currently using synthetic data for the purpose of this meeting. Once we move towards an active system, you will be able to see your students' full year. As far as how many weeks you can see within a current time frame or a current day period, that will be determined by the way the scheduling is made in Infinite Campus, but you should be able to see up to the current day and the full year at some point in Infinite Campus parent portal and student portal, because it will show you what the upcoming dates are for assignments and what the upcoming dates are for events that are happening at the school. So you will have access to the full calendar. As far as what you see on your main screen, that depends on the week we're on. What does unknown mean for attendance? Okay, so when teachers mark students absent, that also requires somebody to review what the teachers have submitted as far as attendance, and that's where parents notifications come into play. So teachers will be able to mark students absent or tardy, unknown, or unknown absent, and then somebody in the office who manages the attendance for the whole school will be able to go into what the teachers have submitted, and it'll be easier for them to write an excuse or write a reason as to why your child was absent or was tardy. Teachers can only mark students unknown tardy, unknown absent, which means they don't have a reason as to why they're tardy or why they're absent. The determining of why that student was absent or why that student is tardy, that falls within the attendance manager at the school. Will attendance and grades upload in real time, or should we expect a 1 to 2 day delays before seeing this information for our children? So one of the biggest pluses from Infinite Campus is that anything that gets touched in Infinite Campus by the teacher, by the admins at the school, anybody who has administrative access to manipulate any of your student screens, it does reflect in real time in Infinite Campus. There's no longer a lag for that. Now, as far as the communication piece, that's a whole nother conversation. But as far as what you see indicating on the parent portal and the student portal, it does update in real time. Why wouldn't everybody be able to see GPA? Well, the GPA will be visible for both student and parent portal, and only certain admin levels users at the school will be able to see this information. We don't want to widely communicate this, as this is FERPA protected information. Why is there a different student and parent view? So they do look fairly different in certain aspects of the parent and student portal. However, you will have your students' login information should you choose to see what your student sees. As far as why it's different, well, The parent portal is used mostly to communicate to the parent, whereas the student who actually goes in depth as to their assignments and what each assignment involves, that is strictly for the student within their class day. That is something your student would need to see on a day-to-day within their class and their teacher. Will teachers be required to WISE this app? Um, Not sure I
I believe
understand
that's
that question.
use this app, use
Oh,
this
use
app.
this app. Use this app. Uh, Infinite Campus, absolutely, yes. Teachers will be required to use Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus is going to be implemented by the whole state of North Carolina, and there are only a few counties that are excluded from it. But yes, as we are in CMS, all teachers are required to use this app, correct? Why not making the assignment details available to parents? It would be much easier to track work rather than asking students to get more details. This is a very good question. I think it would definitely benefit our parents that have their students log in information so that they can see what their student sees. And that would be a great workaround. As far as why the parent portal and the student portal are a little different, that is a programming that Infinite Campus has made, and that's a distinction that they have created. However, the fix for us here at CMS um, will be that we will provide you both logins should you choose to see what your student sees. Absolutely. The application name is Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus. There's a question as to what is the application name, and that's Infinite Campus, INFINITE, Infinite, and Campus, CAMPUS, Infinite Campus. Now we have another question. It says, for the behavioral section, you use the phrase write-up. So this section is the equivalent of our child being sent to the principal's office, or is this section to notify us what our child did during class time? Just want to make sure we all know what to expect from CMS regarding clarity of incidents. This is a very good question. Thank you for asking that. So this is another capability that PowerSchool didn't have for us. This is something new for Infinite Campus that I'm excited to see. However, full autonomy as to how this is going to be used still relies on the school. If the parent or if the school decides, the school leadership team decides at the school how that they're going to use write-ups to communicate any referrals or anytime they get sent to the principal's office, that's a decision that the school will make and will communicate to parents of each particular school. And as far as if this is just, some little issue that happened within the teacher, within the classroom, when the student was with the teacher, that is also something that will be communicated to you as to how this feature will be used for your school. Currently, because this is a new feature that is available in Infinite Campus, we haven't yet had that conversation as to how schools will be utilizing it as a whole. But this is a great question and definitely something for us to plan on in the future. Why not allow detailed information of the student's assignments directly for parents if this parent feels the need to go over certain assignments with their child? I'm sure they would. I just believe a parent should have 100% access to everything with or without the student login. Correct. I completely agree. However, this is one of the limitations with Infinite Campus at the current moment. CMS does not have access or the ability to change this just yet, but this is definitely a question we will raise. How will communicate? Okay, hold on a second. It says, how will communication be pushed from our school teacher or district announcements? So schools will be able to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, but schools will be able to post announcements on their parent portals or on their announcement boards for Infinite Campus, which will reflect in the parent and student portal.
Yes, that is, also though, Luis, as you mentioned before, we are continuing to use Parent Square as a district. So the majority of the information communicated with you as the parent community will come through Parent Square. We're just going to try to ensure that that feeds through to the announcement section of Infinite Campus. So you'll probably get it in both places, but we will continue to use Parent Square for communication.
Gotcha. Thank you. Let's see here. We have more. It says the application seems pretty comprehensive. Is there a reason we still need Canvas? It would be great to use one application. That
I can answer that too, Luis,
okay,
just real
there
quick.
you
I'm
go.
sure you can too, but
Yeah.
okay, being a former teacher and ITF and assistant principal, I can just speak from the school level. Currently, that would be a huge undertaking to train and move more data. If you think about it, we have teachers who have built courses in Canvas. And so that is definitely something we are looking at for future years, but it is not something we felt that we had the capacity to handle for this year. So the first year, we just wanted to ensure that we get the student data over 100% as we can correctly, and then train our school-based staff on attendance and grades and all those components. And so we will definitely look at that as an LMS in the future, but this year we didn't think we had the capacity to do that. So that is a great question, though. It is definitely something we will look at in the future.
Thank you. Are we able to view lunch balances? So currently, balances are managed and controlled by a completely different system that's controlled by child nutrition, which is a separate entity from actually being connected to CMS. But currently, lunch balances won't be able to be incorporated into Infinite Campus as of yet. I want to know if you can go in and see the assignments and see what answers were wrong so that students can learn from it, not just see missing or grade. Unfortunately, currently, that would require for teachers to basically enter and upload those assignments. And I do know that that's not something that we are doing at the current moment, or whether it has even the capability to do so. But I do see the concern and how this would help. This will probably most likely be addressed with the child's current teacher, but I don't believe Infinite Campus has the capability to do this quite yet.
Yes, and sorry to interject again, but we will definitely, since that's been a repeated question, and I
Mhm.
agree as a parent myself, we will bring this up with our weekly Infinite Campus call, and just highly suggest that they look into that for us. And then also, if that is available, we will ensure that we do like a round 2 of lunch and learn or training on that piece so that you're aware that you can see those details.
Awesome. Is the district going to communicate system changes directly to parents? And is there help from the district to roll out this system given most schools are short-staffed?
I
So we
can
current
speak to that as well, Louise, if you want me to.
That's perfectly fine. Yep.
Yeah, no, okay. So yes, we will, you as parents will also start seeing a lot of communication around this move after spring break. Myself and our director, Christine Clark, have worked with the communications department and the family engagement department. We're going to start sending out information and how-to documents through Parent Square. We're also going to provide principals with information to put in newsletters. And then, yes, every school this summer, there is a we're having a week-long summer series is what we're calling it. And it's going to be 2 people from every school who the principal appoints that come to this training. And we are going to hopefully have some Infinite Campus trainers here as well. And we're going to conduct a week-long training so that those 2 people are able to go back to the school and take that information back. We are also creating a Canvas course for our district staff. So they will be able to access that. It's going to have training materials for them, videos. This recording will be on there. So we're trying to make sure all of the resources for our school-based staff, teachers, administrators, data managers are all in one place. And that is a great question. So we are trying to do the best we can to make sure that we provide those materials for the community and the schools. Luis, did we have more questions? in the Q&A.
Sorry about that. I was over
You're
here
fine.
speaking muted. Sorry. It says
You're fine.
I may have missed it, but will we be able to communicate directly with teachers via Infinite Campus? So I know that right now there isn't a direct link or a box you can click onto that would uh, communicate directly with the teacher through Infinite Campus. But like we previously stated, we will be retaining Parent Square. So communication with the teacher would remain the same with Parent Square. Will all teachers be required to use this application the same way? Currently, there are many different ways teachers use Canvas and PowerSchool. Some teachers load every assignment in detail into Canvas and PowerSchool. Some teachers just put a link to some other applications that parents can access for the details about the assignments. That's not useful.
Luis,
Will
I'll take this one if you don't mind.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think because this is a chance for us to change moving from a new system, moving to a new system, some processes, we will do our best to onboard and utilize things in the same manner. One example of that is we're excited that we can actually set up the grade book for teachers from the district level and push that out. They still have autonomy to set up assignments the way they want to, but I think by doing that, we ensure it's done correctly from day one. But we will definitely work on those processes so that you hopefully as a parent see them more streamlined moving forward. And it gives us that opportunity moving to something new to do that.
Says, will Infinite Campus be an additional step for teachers to input info to be reflected there? Please explain the flow of record keeping / tracking for teachers. The grade in Canvas transfer grades to PowerSchool, then to Infinite Campus. Please explain the current flow is choppy and not consistent across the board with the teachers, challenging to follow high school progress and status, not good. Well, as far as the implementation of Infinite Campus with Canvas, there is a uniform workflow like there should be with PowerSchool and Canvas and vice versa. However, the way teachers use it will depend solely on how the information will be reflected in the student information system. So this is a school by school choice. So it depends on what the teacher chooses to utilize and what they choose not to use. It has to be taken case by case. But there will be at least a uniform way on how to implement this from Canvas to Infinite Campus and vice versa. If changes can't be made to allow parents to access all assignments, details should CMS provide parents with kid access, which would likely be a workaround unless some features are only available to parents on the parent version of the solution. I think this is a great question we can write down and get more clarity on, Denise, and then come back.
Yes, I agree.
It's come up a lot, and I understand it's a clear concern for everybody. Let's see, it says, sorry, initial couple minutes of this meeting, I didn't get to the columns. I want to know if MG understanding is right. MG? Parents
My understanding. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Parents can still use Parent Square for communication in Canvas, and PowerSchool will be replaced by Infinite Campus. Correct. In a way, correct. So Parent Square will still be used. Infinite Campus will still be used and will work alongside Canvas. PowerSchool is what's being replaced, just so that I can clarify that point. How are students supposed to learn from missed answers? Teachers have to use the software from the district. Okay, so students and teachers will use the same web-based information systems, Infinite Campus. All information pertaining, wrong answers or wrong answers from assignments, the assignments' final scores will be posted on Infinite Campus for the view of students and also parents. Not sure if I answered that question accurately. Let's see here. Is this being recorded for the future reference? Yes, this is going to be recorded and it's going to be placed on a public domain for later review. Let's see here. Let's see, I'm trying to catch up here with these questions. It says, what is Canvas? So currently, CMS uses Canvas as a learning management system, which is a system that teachers utilize to post assignments for your students' classes, and they also have lessons with videos. And I think Denise can chime in a little more on this, but it is a learning management system. Anything pertaining to your child's learning, as far as their classes are concerned, they use Canvas as a supplement for their teaching.
Correct. That is really where their curriculum is housed. Yes, and so that's where their daily information, assignments, lessons, and then their grades normally are kept. And so we will make sure that that again communicates with Infinite Campus the way that Power School does now. And we definitely, as Luis mentioned before, will work on the assignment details piece and how that works together. One thing to keep in mind as well is, although we know the system very well, we are actually still conducting trainings ourselves as a department with Infinite Campus. And so one that I'm going to request moving forward is how that looks, that communication piece between, first off, Parent Square and Infinite Campus, and I think Canvas and Infinite Campus. And so I will definitely communicate that information as we discover that as a district.
Says, can we get a link to the recording? Absolutely.
Yes, families, thank you so much for joining us today and attending today's session. The recording of today with all of this wealth of knowledge, these great answers, great questions and engagement will be available on the CMS Family Academy on demand webpage. Please visit this page. It'll be under Navigating CMS on the on-demand webpage for you to review, and we will make sure that it is readily available as we work through this transition. A very big thank you to our team that is managing Infinite Campus, Ms. Denise and Mr. Luis, for all of your engagement today and navigating these questions, sharing the platforms at the desktop and web application level, and all of the information on how to navigate this change over smoothly. Families, thank you so much for joining and attending today. If there are any additional questions you would like to share, please send them through the feedback link. So that way we can ensure that those answers get to you. We appreciate your time today, and we appreciate you joining us to learn more, and we look forward to having you at a future family and community engagement session. Thank you so much.